Welcome back, everybody, to another one of our YouTube channel broadcasts. And for those of you who've been listening to the podcast, you may have heard me talk a lot about the conferences I've been going to. I've been going to a lot of state conferences lately, and in those state conferences, I've been meeting owners who are like startups, anybody 3 years or younger in business, and then the advancing therapist owner, anybody who's been in business 3 to 10 years, and they're really looking for growth and expansion. And then your succession owners, your veteran owners, people who've been around a while, and they're really looking for a legacy and succession and greater flexibility. They wouldn't mind owning a small part of their clinic and having their juniors buy them out or selling out altogether. But the underlining theme here between everybody, regardless of what phase or what stage you are at, is this concept of who am I really to be? How am I really to develop as a CEO, as a physical therapist in private practice? And that question comes up quite regularly. It's amazing to me and all the owners I've met throughout the years when I'm actually interviewing them or I'm doing a practice assessment. I fly in for a one-day practice assessment. The things that are on your plate, the things that you are doing are just amazing to me. They're not what an entrepreneur should be doing. They're not what a CEO and leader of a private practice should be doing. So let me help you in this 3-part series, kind of get your wits around where should I be spending my time, what should I be doing, and why. So the why, let's start with the why. Why should I be doing these particular things that you're going to tell me to do, Brian, as the top 10% of all private practice owners do? For those of you who haven't caught our podcast, we've been out for several years. It's called Secrets of the Top 10%. Reason being, when we won Practice of the Year, we were able to judge the next 5 years Practice of the Year winners, and we actually highlighted all the common denominators, and we said, well, why train PT owners on anything other than what the top 10% are doing? Because they've already figured it out. Obviously, they're doing really, really well. So I try to share all of those ideas with you, and of course, they keep evolving, and I keep updating Meg Academy. So you can check that out on our website at megbusiness.com, and you can learn more about that. But what I want to share with you is there are 3 components to a great CEO, to a great leader and executive. 3 components to leadership, executive ability, CEO, and that is that of an entrepreneur, a manager, and a clinician. Now, a lot of this kind of concept or this idea roots back to the E-Myth Revisited book by Michael Gerber. And if you haven't read that, please go back and grab that book. It's Audible, listen to it. It's about franchises, but it really does pertain to how you can wear a really healthy hat as a CEO owner of your private practice. Now, if you see that you're made up of those 3 components, and most people come in with this like 90% full of being the clinician, and they might be a little, have some skills as a manager and organize and plan and program, and then entrepreneur, thinking of the next new tomorrow, thinking of the next new thing. I claim the more time, energy, and effort you put into developing yourself, both personally and professionally, as to keep these 3 components of leadership and executiveness into balance, the better you're going to be, the more work-life balance you're going to have, the more successful your products will become, because you're not overly weighted in one area or the other. So you're going to have to fight against that strong clinician dominant kind of mentality or viewpoint and really think like, I have to outcreate yesterday. The mission and goal of an entrepreneur is to create something that didn't exist prior to your creating it. And what you should be creating on is finding a need and filling it. Finding a need and filling it, creating in an area where something hasn't yet existed, or improving upon an area, taking it to the next level of improvement or refinement. Thereby the standard operating process or standard operating procedure of that area is now much enhanced and much better than it was before. So that's that of the entrepreneur. As you execute on those thoughts and ideas, you have to plan them out. You have to have a pilot program. You have to have a step-by-step process to roll out your thoughts and ideas so you don't drive the people around you crazy, right? So you want to think about that, like, what are the goals? What are the major targets? What are the sub-targets, right? What are the sub-objectives? So I like to say, here's our objectives, here's our targets, here's our goals. The goal is to be achieved at the final product when it's fully developed. So like for instance, right now we are developing remote front desk services, which we call Hello Meg. And those Hello Meg services are going to be, no matter where you are in the country, you no longer have to handle turnover and training and, oh gosh, the drama, the vacation, the performance reviews, the crazy wages at your front desk. And think about how you can actually develop somebody to be a front desk patient registration front desk coordinator receptionist in a professional standard and an insurance verification officer to a professional standard. We can actually combine two of those. So this is something that hasn't been done. This is going to be new in the area of physical therapy, and we're hoping that it's going to take on really well because a lot of people are struggling with their front desk services and paying for those services. So here you go. We have a solution where you get professional services, never have to worry about sick, vacation, time off, or anything like that, and you pay for what you use. So that's an example of an entrepreneur and then putting it into fruition. Well, we're not opening that up to the public right now. We have a couple people in there doing beta testing. We're beta testing several offices. We're finding our bumps along the way, refining things that we want to make better. And then we're going to standardize those operating procedures and write those into policy. And we're going to say from this point forward, we're going to do step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through 7. Get those done. Then we pick up after we flip on the screens, we get going. We're going to now roll out this with the office and the staff and build rapport and build relationships. And this is how we're going to introduce the patients and meet the patients and meet and greet. So you start to see, an idea can't just go into action. It has to be thought out in a step-by-step rollout process. And you have to consider the people that you're working with as an entrepreneur because you have to build that rapport. You have to build that agreement. You have to gain agreement with them to follow you into the new tomorrow, follow you into the new program. So the 3 components of executive abilities are entrepreneur, manager, and clinician. Today's episode is all about the entrepreneur, on how you have to think with think with how you're solving the problem. What is the need? How are you filling it? Plan out the ideal scene for if it all goes the way you want it to go. How does it look? Step 2. So you have your idea, thought. You have your concept, ideal scene, number 2. And then number 3, now you got to start putting together the plans and programs, the pilot plans and programs, the step-by-step process of how to get there. That starts tipping you more into your manager component of leadership and executive ability. Now you got to think more like a manager. Be paced, take your time, bring in the right resources, get out in front of problems as much as you can, be willing and ready to respond to problems as soon as they prop up so they don't fester. But then you bounce back to that entrepreneurship. This takes people, this takes emotion, this takes agreement, this takes, a common reality. So you're going to have to communicate with your staff and say, do you see the reason why we're doing this? Are you on board with why we're doing it? Why we can't stay the way we were? A lot of offices contact us and they want to go pay for performance. Well, the very first thing is we have to coach them on how to actually communicate to their staff as to why we can't stay salary plus benefits. It's a dying breed. It's futile. It's working against our objectives. We can't stay there. We can't do that just because that's what we've done the last 5 years. We really have to move with the times and get out in front. So pay for performance is the way to go. So things like that. That's the concept of an entrepreneur. Taking thought, ideas into full concept, ideal scene, and into a rollout pilot program, which is more of the manager hat. And more on that next episode. I'm going to spend some time on how to be a really great manager. I will leave you with this CEO hat idea, the CEO objectives or duties, if you will. If someone were to ask me, Brian, write the job duties of a CEO, I would simply say this: to lead, educate, and motivate. If you're owning and running a practice right now and you don't spend 99% of your time leading, educating, and motivating, I would have to ask you, what are you doing? Why are you doing anything other than that? That is your new role. You have grown through the role of being a staff therapist and treating patients. If you still want to treat because you love it, great, 20 hours a week. Anything more than that is a liability to your practice. So if you like this kind of messaging, if you like where I'm going with this and how I can help you, please check out our website at megbusiness.com. Click likes and comments. Give me any comments you can below. I will shoot and provide you with the soft personal management skills or more tools for success if you wish in this YouTube channel. I want this to be a community of exchange on how I can reach out to you and help you, the raw public in private practice, fighting the good fight each and every day. If I can give you weapons for success, or tools for success, I should say, let me help you with that. So reach into us, comment below, and other than that, start each and every day expecting to do well.